Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. Now, Honda launched its hatchback, the Jazz, about a decade ago, and it's managed to sell about 2 million units in Japan alone. In India, the Jazz did get critical acclaim, but it didn't take off, and that perhaps is pegged to the way that it was priced. Honda hopes its new iteration will change all of that. Shumi was in Japan, got behind the wheels of the new Honda Jazz, or what the Japanese call the Honda Fit, and here's his verdict on this latest version.
Today we are at Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. We are driving a number of Honda cars. There are two cars that are really important. The first one is right there in front of you. That's the new Jazz. It's called the Fit here. That's why the sign says Fit. But this car will come to India in 2015. Is this the exact final shape of the car? We're not sure yet. There's a lot of time to come before the car comes. But we're going to drive this car for a very short while today and tell you what's different.
But first, what's new in the new Jazz or the Honda Fit? Well, for starters, the whole front end is new, echoing the current Honda styling ethos. The headlights are now stretched horizontally and the Honda badge grows in significance. The huge 4 brake vents round out an aggressive face. At the side, a definition line starts at the front wheel arch and it gains in strength and importance as it streaks to the well-proportioned tail lamps. A second crease below completes the side body.
If you look at the silhouette of the car, you can already see that the lines have changed. The rear end is a little more squat, and at the front, it slopes down cleanly to the nose, but not as clean a line as the old Jazz used to be. And I think that gives the front a little bit more of a definition. It looks more like a two-box car than the last Jazz did. Overall, they've brought the styling up to the current Honda standard, and it looks like a part of the current Honda family, including the new nose, which looks like the new Civic's nose, which came out recently. Overall, it's a nice, clean upgrade to the Jazz, and I think what I like about it is that the last Jazz, when it came out, looked really fresh, and this one looks even fresher.
So I'm driving the new Jazz and I can already see that the interior has a lot of changes. It's a very, very different looking interior from the original one. And the immediate difference is the meters. They look cleaner, they look fresher. There's a big screen on this one. I don't know if that will be an option in India. The cup holders, the ones that we loved, which were in front of the air conditioning vent so that the drink was always cool. The driver's side is still there. It looks smaller, but that side, that particular cup holder has disappeared. But otherwise, it looks nice. This is a black car, so the sense of space is a little bit restricted. But you have to remember that the original Jazz was an extremely spacious car, and I expect this one to be just as spacious. I'll come back to you from the rear seat to tell you how that feels like in a bit. As it turns out, time was short and I never got a chance to film in the back of this car. I did get to sit in there though, and I can assure you that like the Jazz we knew in India, the new car is spacious and as versatile as we expect the new one to be. And now to the engines. India never got the 1.5-litre petrol the car usually gets in other markets thanks to our 1.2-litre excise exemption rule. However, today was my chance to drive the all-new direct injection 1.5-litre petrol and see how much of a difference it makes versus the 90 PS 1.2-litre that we are used to. So I'm in the new Jazz. This is the automatic version, and you can immediately tell that this engine feels a little bit lighter on its feet than the old Jazz. We're at a racetrack. It's really difficult for me to judge whether this car is actually making more torque than before. If you remember, one of the criticisms of the old Jazz was the fact that the engine took a lot of time to spin up, and you had to use a lot of high revs if you wanted to get good acceleration and good speed. It was okay in the city, but on the highway you'd feel it a little bit. But overall, it feels really nice and clean, just like the old Jazz did. It turns into corners very, very nicely. And overall, I personally believe that the Jazz was one of the best hatchbacks India has ever seen, and I think this Jazz improves on it a little bit. But obviously, the true test of the car is in the real world, and this is a small part of the Twin Ring Motegi circuit we're driving, so it's not really representative. But overall, I'm quite happy. I quite like this car, and I continue to like the new version of this car. Honda is of course building more than just the Jazz of this platform, as you'll see later on the show. Our drive in the new car was comically short and we tasted neither the Indian petrol engine nor the Indian diesel in the process. And still, the Jazz is as likeable and as promising a hatchback as we are expecting from Honda. And this time, this is a cheaper car to make and sell, so Honda will not make a pricing error either.
So that's the new Jazz. It looks cleaner, it looks fresher, and it drives a little bit better. This of course may not be the exact car that comes to India because there's still a year to go or more, and there might be a small update to this car before it comes to India. But overall, significant improvement over the old car, keeps everything that was good about the old car in there, including the versatile interior, but it looks fresh and I like that.